History and tradition are the hallmarks of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But a new era at the Brickyard was on the horizon. New leadership, young drivers, and amazing technology sparked a racing revolution. The next 10 years were full of courage and creativity, lifting the 500 to incredible heights. Miraculous moves.
Oh, they went side by side.
Thrilling finishes.
Just a few tenths of a second.
And unforgettable stories produced a spectacular time, unequaled in all of racing. This is the 90s, a decade of drama. At the dawn of a new decade, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was under new leadership. Tony George, the grandson of Tony Holman, was named president, and at 30 years of age brought an exciting vision that would lead the Brickyard into the 21st century.
There's a lot of interest in this event worldwide, and a lot of interest in oval racing in particular. There's a lot that feel that the Speedway needs to take a more active role in giving the direction. I think we have some pretty good ideas of where we would like to see the sport go.
In May, changes swept through the garage area. Defending champion Emerson Fittipaldi joined three-time winner Rick Mears and Danny Sullivan to form Roger Penske's latest super team. Their biggest challenge came from Bobby Rahal and Al Unser Jr. The pair became teammates when their single-car teams merged in the off-season. Car owner Pat Patrick parted ways with Chip Ganassi. Patrick started a new group with Alfa Romeo Power, while Ganassi's team featured Formula One veteran Eddie Cheever. Cheever's European sabbatical made for an amusing return to the United States.
Eddie had just come over from Europe. We walked into McDonald's, and Eddie had never been in a McDonald's in his life and didn't know what to order. So I found that pretty interesting. Here was an adult that spoke perfect English. He'd never been in a McDonald's or didn't even know what to order.
Speed soared all month long. Jim Crawford took his Buick to new heights when his Lola lifted off the ground after making contact with the Turn 1 wall. Little Al turned the quickest lap in track history on Fast Friday. The 228-mile-an-hour lap stunned the Speedway faithful and lifted Junior's hopes for pole day. Rain stretched qualifications over 2 weekends and slowed speeds. But Fittipaldi's four-lap average nonetheless exceeded 225 miles an hour. Teammate Mears made it a Penske 1-2 as Chevy Power swept the first 3 rows. The Andretti's attempted to start 4 members from their famed racing family, but Rocky Moran knocked out Mario's youngest son, Jeff, in the final minutes of bump day. A glorious day for racing as over 300,000 fans packed into the Speedway, including Vice President and native son, Dan Quayle.
And the green flag is out, and Rick Mears has got a slight advantage into turn 1.
It's the first of 800 left-hand turns, and Emo just blew him off. It's Emo and then Rick Mears.
From the start, it was all Team Penske. Fittipaldi beat Mears into turn 1, and the Brazilian jetted out to a full 10-second lead.
Oh, we have a crash. We have a crash. We're trying to get the number right now, but the nose has been knocked off the race car. They're actually against the outside wall approaching turn 2. Danny Sullivan is in the cockpit.
Sullivan's shunt on lap 19 sent him to the hospital. On the restart, Emo continued his blistering pace and led the first 92 laps. An 8th Indy victory for Roger Penske was in sight.
Bobby Rahal has caught Emerson Fittipaldi, and right now he is within about 5 or 6 car lengths.
Blistered tires on Fittipaldi's Penske Chevy allowed Rahal to stay on the hunt. But even after pit stops shuffled car number 1 back to the front, the problem persisted.
You know, it was another year that I was sure I was going to win, running very strong the whole race. And then I think I overloaded the front tires with too much pressure, and I had a blister.
Emo may be making another pit stop indeed. Fittipaldi comes to the pits again. Brian Hammonds will report.
much earlier than expected. Fittipaldi dives into the pits, and his tires are blistered again. It'll be a 4-tire change, a full load of fuel, and his tires are in worse shape than anybody's I've seen today.
The early stop cost Fittipaldi the lead and a chance at back-to-back Indy wins. Rahaal's Goodyear tires were holding up fine when he inherited the lead on lap 136.
I thought it's looking good, and then the right front wing adjuster broke, and the front wing adjusted itself. I was getting more and more understeer, more and more push in the car. And Ari was going fast and had been running fast all day.
And now with 35 laps to go, we see Ari Luyendyk closing in on the leader, who is Bobby Rahal. So we could have a battle for the lead.
And then there was a point where I was, I think, 9 or 10 seconds behind Rahal. And then the next lap it was 7, and then it was 5, and then I really got pumped because I knew I was closing in fast, and then I just closed the gap.
It is Bobby Rahal with Luyendyk closing.
Coming out of 1, I kind of lifted off and then got on it and timed it right. Would I come off the corner, be right behind either Bobby or Scott Goodyear. So I drafted Goodyear, then I went out and by and drafted Bobby, and then I went by in turn 3.
With 32 laps to go, Dutchman Ari Luyendyk drove past Rahal and led the 500 for the first time in his Indy career.
All credit to him, he passed me. You know, I was somewhat helpless, but he passed me, and that was that.
Luyendyk built a big lead and had little competition as the race entered its final segment.
Then I drove as hard as possible to get away a little bit, to give myself a little bit of a cushion for the next pit stop, because pit stops can go wrong by 1, 2, or 3 seconds, and I figured I needed to open up a little bit of a gap and give myself that cushion.
The gap was big enough, and the pit stop was perfect. Luyendyk held his lead, and the Flying Dutchman was untouchable.
So I was looking at Emerson. Doug told me that he was coming up on me, and I knew he was a lap behind, so it didn't matter if he passed me. But still, I was looking, okay, where's he going to go, left, right? And as I was checking him out in my mirrors, I missed the white flag. So then when I came around the next lap and I saw the checkered, it was almost like, for me, it felt like it was a lap too early. But that's when I kind of screamed of joy in my helmet, and that day changed a lot of my life.
He speaks English, Dutch, and German. He's talking to that car in all 3 languages right now. He can almost coast home from here.
And Ari Luyendyk, whose best finish here was 7th, wins the 74th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Ari Luyendyk has won.
What I did is I raised my arm up in the air after I won, but I was still doing, 200, whatever, 20 miles an hour. And it almost ripped my arm off. So I slowed down a lot, so I could, then raise my arm again and wave at the crowd as I was bringing it back into the pit.
The race was the fastest in 500 history. Rahal finished 2nd, followed by Fittipaldi and Unser Jr. Eddie Cheever earned top rookie honors with an 8th place finish. 1991 marked the 75th anniversary of the Indianapolis 500. And while the Diamond Jubilee would celebrate the Brickyard's rich past, this month of May would be full of firsts. On Fast Friday, Rick Mears slammed hard into the turn 1 wall. It was his first crash in over a decade of running at Indy.
So after it happened, it was almost like a relief. Okay, it finally, it's finally happened. I didn't want any excuses to not be able to get back into the car. And came back into the garage, and Roger said, "You want to, get the backup car out?" And I said, "Yeah."
The rocket then turned in a hot lap of over 226 miles an hour, the fastest of the month.
He went out right there at the last 15 or 20 minutes, typical Mears style, and he said, "My foot hurt so much I just had to put it wide open all the way around."
Rookie Mark Dismore wasn't as lucky. His car exploded upon impact at pit entrance. Injuries left him sidelined for the rest of the month. 4-time winner A.J. Foyt spent the offseason recovering from a terrible road course crash. In April, Foyt declared that his 34th start would be his last.
I'm not looking at it as my final Indianapolis race. I'm just going to treat it like another race, and then afterwards it'll just be over with. That's about it. That was my goal, to run through 91 and then retire. And the reason we made the announcement early was because of the accident. A lot of people want to know why I didn't quit in 1990 after this wreck. But, you know, I've always been down and have to work to come back, so we're working to come back.
On pole day, Supertech showed no signs of slowing down when he set provisional pole with a lap of over 222 miles an hour. Foyt's glory was short-lived, though, as Mears won a record 6th Indy pole.
Qualifying to me is always kind of a payback to the team for all the hard work they do. And, you know, you go out there and lay down a good lap, and it was always a good feeling coming back in pit lane and seeing all the smiles on the team's faces.
Mario Andretti filled out a legendary front row that represented 8 Indy wins. Mario was also joined by sons Michael and Jeff, plus nephew John. It marked the first time 4 members of the same family competed at the Speedway.
The odds of something like that happening, you know, you realize really how special that is, you know, to have 4 members of the same family in the biggest event in the world. I mean, it was a pretty big deal. I think we all realize how special that was.
The second weekend of qualifications offered just as much excitement. Fan favorite Gary Bettenhausen was 3/10 faster than Mears' pole speed, but his Buick would start 13th. Several barriers were broken at the Brickyard. Hiro Matsushita became the first Japanese driver to qualify at Indianapolis, while Willie T. Ribbs became the first African American to make the 500.
Sometimes you have to get to the next day to realize that we were underwater and we got resurrected. So, you know, it came through in the end, and I'm really pleased about that.
When I dream about the blue light on the wall, how I long for my Indiana home.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
The colors, the reds, the blues, the greens, everyone in formation. Rick Mears brings them toward the start.
The pace car is off the track. Danny Sullivan's car is rolling. Here comes the field. The green flag is out, and the 7500 is underway.
Mears got the jump on Legends Row, but the Andrettis were charging hard.
Great battle for second spot, Larry.
They're side by side coming down the back straightaway. Michael on the inside, Rick on the outside. Michael's got him blown. Oh, boy, did they just get around. Rick Mears staying high. Gets around Michael, but they're still at it, going to 4.
It is Michael on the inside, and Mears on the outside. Mears has got him. Mears begins to pull away as they go down the main straightaway.
A great battle for second position. Now Michael makes another move, looking to the inside. They're wheel to wheel as they head for turn 1, and Michael has got him.
And by lap 12, father and son were 1-2.
Oh, we got a crash at 1. We got a major crash at 1. The car is in at least 2-3 pieces.
Well, it looks like A.J. Boyd was involved. When we saw him go by here very slow, it looked as if the left front wing was gone. It looks like A.J.'s going to park it because he was waving to the crowd.
Debris from the incident damaged car 14, signaling the end of Foyt's legendary Indy career.
And here's the green flag, a drag race to turn 1 again.
Oh, they are side by side, and Michael's got him. Michael first, Mario second, Al under third.
The green severed any family ties as Michael built up a big lead over his father.
I was just about ready to put Rick Mears down a lap. I was literally 1 lap away from doing that, and I got a flat tire. And so I had to pit early. And so that is what really changed the complexion of the race.
Danny Sullivan's engine has gone here on the main straightaway.
The late yellow allowed Michael to make his final stop, giving the lead to Mears.
Here we go. The field comes off the 4th turn. The green flag waves. Here's the final 13 laps of the race.
I remember I knew I had to get him on a restart, and I knew John was there, so I knew we could trust him. And when we were coming up, I had a good run on Rick, and all of a sudden, John pulled up high. I'm like, oh, beautiful.
Boy, Rick Mears made a great move down low. He leads the way. short chute. He's a number 2, and Michael Andretti's got the lead.
He took fuel on board, but Rick Mears is slower right now, about 7 car lengths behind. Michael Andretti trying to get his first Indianapolis 500 win.
You know, when we got to turn 1, I just stayed on the bottom side and said, you can go, but you're going to take the long way. And which he did, and he went on around. So then it was a matter of, you know, putting our head down and try to get it back.
And I thought at that point, I think we're going to win the race because Rick didn't have anything for me all day long. And so you wonder, why would he have something for me now? And then going around in the very next lap, coming down the front straightaway, I saw Rick had a big run on me. I'm like, where did he get that speed?
Now Mears goes to the outside, and Rick may have it. They move into the short chute. Rick Mears takes the lead.
We had the momentum on it. And so, you know, he could have moved more and tried to block me, but to his credit, he didn't, you know, and he's a racer, and he kind of took the middle of the road, you know, and by doing that, it left the top door open.
Andretti is one of the toughest drivers, you know, on the grid, on the track, and to see him make that move was outstanding. But that's Rick Mears.
As Mears began to pull away, Michael watched his dreams of an Indy win disappear.
I was really puzzled and really disappointed because I knew the race was over. Because I knew I was as fast as I could go, wide open, and he was just inching away from me. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm losing another one.
Mario Andretti is slowing down in turn number 3.
I knew he was just trying to get another yellow to give Michael another shot at me. Because, you know, I mean, Michael's always good on a restart, so it was a little unnerving at first. I never believed in brake checking guys. You know, that just messes up the rest of the field. It's not the right thing to do. But I wasn't going to let him go clean, so. What I did was I'd act like I was going to go. I'd pick up the pace and then level off. So when I saw the nose of his car drop, I knew he was off the throttle and on the brake, and that's when I'd let it go. So it kind of helped give me a little extra shot and made sure he didn't have the momentum to catch me.
The green flag is out. Rick Mears has a good jump. He separates himself from Michael Andretti by 10 car lengths.
We went into that race with the same game plan we always did, but that was of the 4 wins, that was the only one that worked out to having the shootout at the end that you always plan for. And that's the fun part. That's what you do it for, to have that battle at the end.
Rick Mears becomes the 3rd 4-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, winning the Diamond Jubilee Edition, the 75th running of this great speed classic.
The first one will always have its place. But to me, each win got progressively better. For the simple fact of looking back, you know, I learned to realize more what Indy meant to win.
Despite the one that got away for Michael Andretti, 3 Andrettis finished in the top 10. Jeff Andretti earned Rookie of the Year honors, the same award his father and brother had won. In 1992, the talk in Gasoline Alley centered on horsepower. Ford returned to the brickyard, badged as Cosworth engines. The potent combination threatened rival Chevy Ilmore and produced a classic battle between the nation's largest automakers on racing's biggest stage. With the Ford still in its infancy, the robust Buick power plant was once again the fastest in practice. Jim Crawford made an early statement with a 233-mile-an-hour hot lap. With the higher speeds came greater risk. Rick Mears' attempt at an unprecedented 5th 500 win hit a snag when he suffered his second crash at Indy in as many years.
While I was sliding upside down the back straightaway, my feet and legs were killing me from the impact. I was still struggling to get my breath back. And the pavement's running by, you know, still 70, 80, 90 mile an hour. And I've got fluids running in on me, and I'm waiting for it to ignite. But while I was sliding along there, I remember thinking, I don't need this.
The Speedway was unkind to rookies as well as veterans. Nelson Piquet's first run at the Brickyard ended prematurely when he made heavy contact in turn 4. The impact broke Piquet's ankles and kept him out of action. The 3-time Formula One champ was replaced by 4-time winner Al Unser. And he's on it. On pole day, Arie Luyendyk was atop the pylon with Ford power. But as the late afternoon shadows fell upon the speedway, Roberto Guerrero made a late run at the pole.
And it's a new track record.
Guerrero gave Buick its first Indy pole. The 232-mile-an-hour average shattered the old mark by 8 miles an hour. 45-year-old Lynn St. James became the second woman in 500 history to make the starting field.
You go down pit lane and they chant your name, and I'm like, I've just never experienced anything like that. And so I didn't really have the opportunity to prepare for that, but what I did was I just let it happen. I mean, I never let it lose my focus or distract me.
Canadian Scott Goodyear had been bumped from the field, but replaced teammate Mike Groff and would start 33rd. The fastest field in 500 history featured 10 former winners, including A.J. Foyt, who returned for his 35th straight Indy. The Speedway suffered its first fatality in a decade when rookie Jovi Marcello was killed in a practice crash. He was 27. Race day morning mirrored Christmas morning as a brutal wind and cold temperatures threw a wrench into race strategy.
Oh, it was brutal, and I remember under the yellows I would be shaking. I mean, literally shaking because it was so cold. I mean, my hands, I couldn't even feel my hands, it was so cold. It was brutal. I mean, it was probably like 40-some degrees, and you know, this is in the end of May, and it was just overcast, and it was ugly.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine.
A car is off the track, the pole center, the pole car, Roberto Guerrero has spun off the track.
I said, guys, you aren't going to believe what just happened.
I was trying to warm the rear tires up, and I gave it a little bit too much, and it just swapped into me. It seemed like the picture perfect month that we had. It's the only mistake I made the whole time, a tiny little mistake, and unfortunately, it cost us the race.
And you know right away from that point on, this is going to be a strange day.
And the green flag is out. The race is on, and Eddie Cheever jumps into the lead as they head for one.
Michael passing him on the inside. Michael Andretti in the short shoot out front with Florio right behind.
It's an Andretti family reunion in turn 2.
The Cheever sandwich propelled Michael from 6th to 1st. Ford held on to the top 4 spots.
That was literally, in my whole career, the easiest race I've ever driven. I mean, the car was so dominant. I think my quickest lap was 5 miles per hour quicker than anybody else's quickest lap.
They got another crash in 2. Another one hits the wall.
3, 4, 5 cars involved.
2 separate incidents on lap 76 claimed both Penske cars.
I was just behind Ricky going to turn 1. He lost it, he spun, and I spun together. I mean, Penske lost the 2 cars in turn 1, and one crash, one accident. And I mean, it was a very tough year. To me, it was the most difficult year I ever experienced in Indianapolis. Even on the restart, you have to be careful with the throttle because you could spin the rear wheels and lose control.
Cautions bred more cautions as tires fell victim to Mother Nature's cold spell.
And a crash in turn 4, Bob.
Yes, it involves Mario Andretti.
The restarts were a problem getting back up to speed. And the track was a junkyard. You did not get offline. I mean, I was very, it was like being in a sailboat where the storm was out.
The race is on once again. Here comes Michael Andretti headed for turn number 1, and another crash in turn 4. Bob Lamy.
Yes, we've got a spin, and Brian Bonner, the car number is 39.
By midway, nearly half the field had been eliminated. The 500 had become a race of attrition. Michael Andretti was one of the few survivors.
And Michael Andretti goes around Al Jr. down the main straightaway.
Once he gets clear sailing, Bob, he is tongue to catch.
I was just cruising. The whole day I'm just looking in my mirror waiting for somebody to race me, you know, and there was nobody. You know, nobody could touch us. And I'm saving and I'm still running away, you know, and it's like, God, this is too good to be true.
Every time we complete a lap under green, we breathe a sigh of relief. And another crash in turn number 2.
Jeff Andretti came through 2, out of shape, a half spin, another car involved to the inside. Gary Bettenhausen apparently got some debris.
I wasn't getting any report, none at all. And then I see him towing the car away. and I saw there's nothing, the front of the car's gone. I didn't even know if he was alive at that point. I mean, I was not getting, I had no report. I'm like, oh God. So that, from then on, just was on my mind the rest of the way. And I was thinking, I gotta win, I gotta get this over with, I gotta win it, and I gotta get to the hospital.
It was Michael's day. Michael could pull away at will. It was pretty much a race for second place. And me and Scott Goodyear were having a great race.
We got to get in front of Scott, because when Michael breaks, I want to be leading. Al drove very hard for a long period of time and finally worked his way around Scott.
They are side by side. Al Jr. down on the low side. He's got the position. He gets by Scott Goodyear. It may not be enough, but at least Al Jr. now holds second position in this race.
Andretti's lead grew to 30 seconds. His first Indy victory was within reach.
I was coming up to lap Al Unser Sr., and he was running third, and he was running the Buick. And I started to smell something. And I thought, oh, it must be the Buick. It might be the Buick, because they weren't very reliable at that time. So I'm like, I got to pass him, because I can just see him blowing a motor and I'm going to spin. So I go and I pass him, and right as soon as I pass him, engine just died. It just died. I'm like, no.
Is he slowing down?
Michael Andretti, the leader, is slowing down, coming down the back straightaway.
Unbelievable luck for the Andrettis.
One of the Speedway's most masterful performances ended in turn 3. Andretti's expired Ford ironically finished an unlucky 13th.
Of my career, that was the worst day of my career, for sure. You know, and it was a very disappointing day for the whole family, and obviously mostly for Jeff. I mean, it was a tough day.
Andretti's bad luck brought out the yellow and bunched up the field. A new battle was brewing between leader Al Unser Jr. and underdog Scott Goodyear.
I guess we looked at that race that day as, if we could see the top 10 at the end of the day, we'll be very happy. Then you start thinking, well, maybe we might see the top 5. Then you get to the top 5, and then you start thinking about the top 3, and you're going, this is being a great day.
All right, we're about to go green once again and settle this thing, the running of the 500-mile race for 1992.
I remember looking down at our dash and seeing 223, 224 miles an hour average. And at that point, I was just going, wow, we're flying, this is fun.
He's closed within 2 car lengths. Goodyear within 2 car lengths and 1.
Can he get him? Can he get him?
I think most everybody had kind of a strange sense of confidence that because of what happened in '89, Scott was not going to get around that.
No, he is closed up. He's about 3 car lengths behind him, and he's making a move with a short shoot.
It's like a sprint car race, nose to tail, into turn 2, about 3, 4, maybe 5 car lengths now, off the corner, down the backstretch. It's a shootout for the Indianapolis 500.
And then the last couple laps, it started getting loose. And then it finally stepped out on me in turn 4, coming for the checkered.
Keep those cameras ready. We can have a photo finish.
Al Unser Jr. has the lead. One more turn to go. Here they come. Coming to the finish line. Bob Jenkins, who's going to win it?
And I knew that I had a bit of a run on him. And I went to the right, he went to the right, I went to the left. He was sort of watching in his mirrors, and we certainly had the momentum coming up to the finish line.
I came off at turn 4, and I saw the run that Scott had on me, and my first thought right away was, oh, I've blown another one.
Goodyear makes a move. Little Al wins by just a few tenths of a second. Perhaps the closest finish in the history of the Indianapolis 500.
Unser Jr. edged Goodyear by 43 thousandths of a second, the closest finish in 500 history.
I think it was the first time I actually did breathe, because, you know, I had the family tradition, all the pressures that my family has at that place. It was a great moment. My dreams, the goals, everything were instantly finished. I mean, it was done.
Little Al became the first son of a 500 winner to visit Victory Lane.
There sounds like there's some tears in your voice right now.
Well, you just don't know what Indy means.
It was a banner day for the entire family. Al Sr. finished 3rd, giving Buick its best finish ever at Indy.
I was probably as happy as I was when I won the race the first time, because my son won it.
Dad was down near the end of pit lane, and his arms were just so big, and they were so open, and for a great big hug. It was a great moment.
I said, you make me proud and happy. I said, now you know what it's like.
There were tears of joy and pain in the Walker Racing pit. Goodyear came up just inches short of a miraculous march from worst to first.
At that moment, to me, I just lost the race. You know, I tried so hard, had the opportunity, and I would have felt better if we had finished second by a half a mile. You know, but when you finish second by a half a car length, there's no joy in that. I mean, no matter how you look at it.
Only 12 cars finished a race marred by 85 laps of caution. Lynn St. James survived and finished 10th to claim top rookie honors. 1992 marked the final 500 for former champions Tom Sneva, Gordon Johncock, and Rick Mears. Injuries prompted an unceremonious end to the Rockets' legendary Indy career.
I mean, he was loyal. When we were up, I mean, he rode the crest, and when we were down, he was helping bring the team back. And to me, there was no better team player from the standpoint of IndyCar racing.
There was a global presence for the 1993 May Classic. Over a dozen international drivers, including 4 Formula One world champions, converged on the speedway, leaving no doubt that Indianapolis was truly the racing capital of the world. The Speedway received a major facelift prior to the 77th running. New fences and walls strengthened the outer ring of the facility. The track was altered to make room for rumble strips and a warm-up lane, which cut the racing groove in half.
It made it difficult in the aspect that it instead of a 2-groove racetrack, it was definitely a 1-groove racetrack.
Rear wing reduction and a new chassis bulkhead also were new for 93. The changes decreased speeds by 15 miles per hour. The biggest news to hit pit lane was the departure of Michael Andretti to Formula One. Newman Haas filled his seat with 1992 world champion Nigel Mansell.
I've tried to come with an open mind to Indianapolis. It's very difficult because even from the air at 5,000 feet, when you fly about 5 miles away, you can see it. It is a very daunting and, in your language, a very awesome place. There's nothing as mighty as this in the world.
On pole day, 4-time champion A.J. Foyt officially retired from racing. Nagging injuries and the demands of being a team owner prompted Supertex to hang up his helmet after 35 straight starts at Indy.
The fans had brought me back as many years I've been back, but I felt like if I'm going to run a team, I can't be in a race car. Seems like every time I'm not with the car, something happens, and I realized that this morning. Just as I went to get the green, the yellow come out, it was my other car. So if I'm going to be a successful car owner, I've got to spend 110% of my time with the car and not think of AJ. So like I said, it comes a time. I love all y'all a lot. You've been great fans. I love you. And I'll still be back, and we'll still be up in the winner's circle. Thank you very much.
Having AJ as a teammate and watching his data traces around Indianapolis helped me a lot with steering and throttle. He was amazingly smooth, and that was something that has helped me at Indianapolis that I still apply when we come to Indianapolis in the IndyCar or in the stock car.
Pole day resumed with another legend, Mario Andretti, making a run at the pole. Ford Power had him up front until Arie Luyendyk's late afternoon run. Arie Luyendyk is on the pole.
I think that every driver loves to be able to go out there and put the car on the pole at Indy because it's almost like an event in itself. And I've always enjoyed qualifying the day itself. It's kind of cool how you know, that day is an adrenaline rush and it's high intensity, and that's the kind of challenge that is really enjoyable.
Defending national champion Bobby Rahal was not as lucky. He ran out of chances and missed his first 500.
It really struck me because we had all our guests, all our sponsors, and they were all at the race. And of course, I'm sitting up in the suite trying to be Mr. Personality. And it was everything I could do to keep from crying, you know, because I knew that I belonged down there on that racetrack, that I didn't belong where I was.
Raul Boisel got the jump on the rest of the Fords and led the first 17 laps.
Lyondike is chucked right behind Mario Andretti as he's setting up for a pass inside. Mario blocks the move. Lyondike has to go high. Mario cut off that move going through 3. He holds the number 1 position going to 4.
On lap 25, Al Unser Sr. had the lead. At age 56, Big Al was aiming for an unprecedented 5th 500 win.
I had 103 temperature. And Brian Barnhart, who was my chief mechanic, he said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "Nothing. I'm going to fasten that seatbelt and go race."
Pit stop shuffled Andretti back into the lead, and all eyes were on red 5, Nigel Mansell.
And here goes Nigel Mansell moving around Emerson Fittipaldi. He's got the low line, and Mansell picks up a position. We are seeing some great racing right now in the 77 500.
Mansell grabbed the lead on lap 70, and for the first time in 30 years, a rookie had a real shot at winning.
Nigel Mansell missed the pit. He's about 10 feet beyond where the crew is. They run out to pull him back. A very costly mistake as Nigel Mansell got caught wide and too hot on pit road and simply couldn't get to the stall.
The 40-second pit stop dropped Mansell down to 7th. But he quickly climbed back into contention.
Now he's going to make the move in number 2. Gary. Short shoot, yes indeed. Through the short shoot, Mansell goes low, gets around Lyondike 4 position. They're off the corner. Now he pulls up behind Davy Jones going down the backstretch. Nigel Mansell's been able to drive high, low, in the middle. He might even be able to drive on the grass today. He is on the move. Crash in turn 3. We've got 2 cars that came together. They touched wheels coming into 3.
Mario darted into the pits for fuel, but was assessed a penalty for entering a closed pit.
And a great restart here as the green comes out into 1. They're nearly 3 abreast.
Mansell's daring move gave him the lead with 25 laps to go.
Former world champions are first and second. It's Mansell, then Fittipaldi, and the battle really rages behind them.
Lyondike, Fittipaldi, and Andretti were within reach. The day's 7th caution gave them all one more shot at the British rookie.
I had equipment, a car to win the race, and I had the desire to win. I mean, I was really looking forward to win.
And the green flag is out. We are back to racing, and Emerson Fittipaldi makes a move on Nigel Mansell. He's got him going into 1, but Lyondike is also right there.
Oh, they went side by side, and Mansell fell all the way back to 3rd place.
So Nigel moved over to the left to block Emerson, but you know, on the road courses you kind of block a guy on that side if you make a left-hand turn, but at Indy he left us just all that space on the outside, and Emerson drove around on the outside, but then he came back over to the right, but I had such a run on him that I barely fit between him and the wall, and it was just an awesome move.
If that would have been on a road course, it might have been a different story, but Emerson's experience, and you know, when it's time to go, when he can taste it or see it, there's nobody that won't run it harder, and I think that was a byproduct of, you know, his thought process and his driving ability in 1993.
I had the best set of tires that I chose for the whole race. The car at that time was perfect balance, and then I said I can win again, and it happened. I mean, it was incredible the last 10 laps.
That Marlboro Penske Chevy C full song down the back straightaway, and it's smoking the Fords right now. He's got about a 40 car like the advantage on Lyondike. Emerson Fittipaldi takes the checkered flag and wins the 77th running of the Indianapolis 500.
Fittipaldi's second victory at the Brickyard gave him a pair of 500 wins to go with his 2 Formula One titles.
It was very special to win second time in Indianapolis. And mainly because the years before I had two situations I could win, 90 and 91. I mean, both races was under control. It could be my fourth win. I mean, I always say if doesn't win races, you have to win, and that's it. But I had a good chance of winning another two races before that. To me, it was incredible to win the second time in Indianapolis. That this time with Penske team, with the Penske crew was really nice.
In victory lane, the Brazilian created a little controversy by putting business before tradition.
I drink the orange juice and then I drink the milk, but nobody bothers when I drink the milk. They say Emerson broke the tradition. He didn't drink the milk, but I did drink the milk after the orange juice.
For a quarter century, Roger Penske had been the one to beat at Indianapolis. With 9 titles already to his credit, the captain searched the rule book in an attempt to further distance himself from the competition.
It'll probably go down in Indianapolis history as the coup d'etat, if you will, of exploiting a loophole.
The rule allowed for the design of a purpose-built pushrod motor that generated 200 to 300 more horsepower than the average turbocharged engine.
I just said, look, someone's got to take this rule and execute properly, and quite honestly, it was a project that we kept very, very quiet.
Oh my God, what is this? You know, it's like this cloak and dagger top secret project, and there's just a handful of us that knew about it through early spring.
By May, the word was out. The 900 horsepower Mercedes-Benz engine would debut at Indy. Penske would try to put a 10th Indy title with defending champ Emerson Fittipaldi, Paul Tracy, and team newcomer Al Unser Jr.
I saw Al as a guy that could finish races. He probably had the best finishing record. He might not have been able to set on the pole every day, but he was always there.
Hopes of an all-Penske front row were scrapped when Tracy crashed on Fast Friday. Now, it was only a matter of who would start on the pole, Emil or Little Al.
Wow, incredible, 229.481 for Al Unser Jr. as he is now on the pole race day.
Junior found the right mix of weather and speed to earn his first Indy pole. Raul Boisel split the Penske front row as Emo settled for third.
Yeah, I call the car the Beast because it's incredible power, a lot of torque in low revs. You have to drive a little different way, but the Beast was powerful, fast with the Mercedes engine.
Mario Andretti announced that 1994 would be his 29th and final race at Indy. By mid-month, 2 more legends would also call it quits, signaling the changing of the guard at the Brickyard.
We all got caught in that wave of the change, and they just suddenly, there was no place for us. And I've always regretted that very much.
I've always said all my life in racing that if the day came, that I would know it. Even today, I would like to go back. Give me 30 years back, you know, and I'd tackle it again because I still love it. But once you lose that desire or that terms to try to win, you know, you need to back down.
Indy's youth movement featured 9 rookies, including 23-year-old Jacques Villeneuve.
We could see very early in the days how good a driver he was, tremendous test driver. He prepared himself for the race because of that so well, and a heads-up driver. You could see things happening.
Bobby Rahal hoped to put the nightmare of '93 behind him with Honda power. The first Japanese engine to run at Indy left the '86 champ uneasy, prompting Rahal to dump the Honda for a year-old Ilmore.
Come '94, when all of a sudden we're not competitive speed-wise, we couldn't look at our sponsors and say, we'll get them next year, you know. And we had to do the things that we did, which did a lot to undermine the relationship that we had with Honda at that point.
A very spread out field as they take the green flag. The race is underway and Little Al has the lead into 1. The 2 Penskes have taken off as everyone thought they would, and they've got about a 10-car length advantage already on 3rd place.
When Little Al set the tone early, it was apparent that this would be a 2-car race.
Mario Andretti has ended his Indianapolis 500 career out of the race today.
In a fitting end to his Indy career, Mario Andretti dropped out on lap 23 with the fuel pressure problem. It marked the end of an incredible 500 career tainted by bad luck.
I know his life became very miserable where he was at because him and Nigel just didn't get along. And so at that point he thought Nigel was still going to be his teammate, and so he was ready to get out. And then when he learned that I was going to join a team, he was really disappointed that he picked that year to retire.
Junior stalled in the pits during the first wave of stops. Fittipaldi took advantage of his partner's error and began to pull away.
Emerson Fittipaldi is in again.
They clear away some debris from the radiator intakes, and they topped him off with fuel and sent him on his way.
A plastic bag forced Emo to pit earlier than expected, throwing him off the routine pit cycle. The Brazilian continued and built a 15-second advantage over the next 60 laps.
It was clear Emerson was stronger than even Al was, and the two of them were stronger than everyone else in the field.
We've got an accident down on the pit warm-up lane. We've got one car on top of another car down there.
It is Nigel Mansell, whose car is underneath the one driven by Dennis Vitolo.
The bizarre incident ended Mansell's day. He was running third.
The race is being dominated, it appears, by the Mercedes-Benz engine. Emerson Fittipaldi is leading. Al Unser Jr. is second.
With Fittipaldi turning laps in excess of 220 miles an hour, the Penske pushrod had lapped everyone but little Al. There was still time.
I was starting to settle for second place, and then me and Emerson started racing.
The leader, Emerson Fittipaldi, is closing in on his teammate, Al Unser Jr.
Emerson Fittipaldi has passed Al Unser Jr. He's lapped the entire field.
Emerson Fittipaldi looking good here in the closing stages.
Chuck told me on the radio, you have to be one lap ahead of Junior when you come in. And I gained a lap during the race, and I was holding one lap ahead of him, and then we got traffic, he passed me.
Then I started thinking, I don't have another stop left, and he's got to stop. And so I thought, okay, well, if I can stay in front of him, then maybe I have a shot at getting him.
And for a crash.
Got Emerson Fittipaldi has hit the wall on the inside, coming through 4.
Unbelievable, the car comes to a stop just a few feet short of the start-finish line. Emo raises his hands as if to say, I can't believe what has happened.
I was very disappointed because I was the fastest guy on the track, and I lost the race that I could have won.
Just like 1992, Al Unser Jr. found himself in the lead with 15 laps to go. But unlike 1992, Jr. had no rival, leading by 25 seconds.
The checkered flag waves, and Al Unser Jr. has won the 78th running of the Indianapolis 500.
When you join the best team in the business and most wins and all that, it's your job, and that's what you're there to do, and so it's what we're supposed to do.
Roger Penske's 10th Indy win proved to be his most dominant and most rewarding. The Mercedes 209 was the reason.
It was a culmination of hiring a great driver, an Unser tradition, a Mercedes-Benz engine in Indianapolis. You couldn't have really written a better script. That was one of the great wins when I think about that during the 90s, just to see that execution.
Rookie of the Year Jacques Villeneuve finished second. His Renard Ford was the only non-Penske machine to lead a lap. After a 10th place finish, John Andretti jetted off to North Carolina to compete in NASCAR's night race. John became the first driver to compete in both events on the same day. In 1995, the Holman George family celebrated their 50th year of Speedway ownership. Always committed to making the track a state-of-the-art facility, the last 5 years had seen tremendous growth. Among the additions, a redesigned golf course and a NASCAR event, the Brickyard 400. On pole day, Ari Leindijk sat on the pole, but teammate Scott Braden made a run during happy hour.
We've got a new pole sitter, Scott Braden, 231.604 miles an hour.
Menard car started 1-2 as Braden celebrated his first pole at Indy in 14 tries.
What we were able to do is we were able to run a little bit more downforce because we had more power than the other engines. And therefore the car, the handling of the car was just phenomenal. All month long my car, the handling was just great. So handling-wise, I could do almost anything with it.
After missing the '94 race, Honda qualified for its first 500 with Tasman Racing. Driver Scott Goodyear also brought Firestone back to the Speedway to fill out the front row. Speed was hard to come by for Team Penske. Instead of aiming for a third straight 500 crown, the team was focused on just trying to qualify for the race.
We were in 3 different cars. We had the Penske, we had the Reynard, and we had the Lola. And it was just, I think everybody was at fault as far as just going into a panic mode.
But Indianapolis, was a very tough weekend, and then we decided to get Hogan Penske car for me to qualify another car. And it would be easy in the race. After 3 laps, my average speed would be like, I would say 20s on the race. And then Roger waved me out on the last lap. When I saw the yellow flag, I couldn't believe, because I knew I was on the race.
On the last day of qualifying, Little Al was too slow. Fittipaldi finally qualified, but was bumped by Stefan Johansson. Team Penske failed to make the field of 33. In one of the most surprising events in 500 history, the defending champion did not make the race.
I was crushed. I was just crushed. When I didn't make the show, it was the longest walk I've ever done down that pit lane and into the garage. And, tears were flowing, and they were sad tears. They weren't happy.
I'd been there every year since my dad had brought me there in 1951. But again, it was something that I guess you have to experience. It was disappointing, but it made us a much stronger team.
The green flag is out of the 79th Indianapolis 500 is underway.
Oh, we've got a major crash against the outside wall in the short chute.
The 5-car incident was especially brutal to Stan Fox. He was sent to the hospital in critical condition.
So I jump out of the car, and I'm looking for somebody to argue with. And by the time I get to his car, it was a mess. There was no front end of the car, and it was ugly.
On the restart, Leindijk held the lead, but Michael Andretti was intent on getting his Ford Cosworth to the front.
Michael Andretti is stuck right behind Ari Leindijk. He goes to the outside, down the back straightaway, tucks in front. Michael Andretti has the lead using traffic of Brian Herta, and Michael Andretti now going up by 15 car lengths at Ari Leindijk.
While cars shuffled through the pits, Jacques Villeneuve inherited the lead.
The yellow light is on. It is for debris.
Jack doesn't even know he's in the lead. So, a lot of the blame could be pointed towards me for not, I wasn't expecting to be, I didn't want to be in the lead, and here we are in the lead, we don't know it, because there's cars coming in and out and all sorts. So,
after 2 attempts to track down Villeneuve, USAC officials penalized him 2 laps for passing the pace car.
We were whipped. We're now 2 laps behind every single car in the race. And we were just down. We felt we were in the gutter, A couple of the guys in the team actually rallied us really and just came up to me and said, come on, he said, we're not out of this yet.
Mauricio Gugelmin was now leading with Andretti in pursuit.
I remember I was coming up on Gugelmin, so I went to go around him going through 4, and when I did, I hit the marbles, which I didn't even see. I didn't even know they were there. The next thing you know, I'm heading straight for the wall. And I'm like, oh, God. couldn't believe it.
Unbelievable. Michael Andretti, who was setting the pace here, is apparently out of the action, so the bad luck of the Andretti crew continues.
With 50 laps to go, pit stops and cautions shuffled the leaderboard. Villeneuve benefited from both and made up his 2-lap deficit. By lap 156, Villeneuve was back in front.
In certain segments of that race where he absolutely drove the wheels off. And on 2 occasions, he wore those tires through to the canvas, driving the wheels off it. That's how far we pushed it on that day.
Jacques Villeneuve is coming into the pits, and turn 2.
And we have got a car up along the wall out of turn 2 and coming to a stop along the back straightaway, and once again, debris all over the racetrack.
The yellow came in the nick of time. By not pitting, Villeneuve avoided going to the back of the pack and stayed in the hunt. The leaders pitted for the final time on lap 168.
Scott Pruitt tucks in, goes to the low side of Jimmy Vasser. He's got the lead. Scott Pruitt, Vasser has to back out. He's way high. He touches the wall. He hits the wall in 3. Vasser had nowhere to go, and Scott Pruitt went down low. We've got the yellow out, but Scott Pruitt has the lead.
While Firestone ran first and second, it was Goodyear looking to finish first.
You know, throughout the whole day at the Indianapolis 500, you set yourself up for the last 20 or 30 laps. And when we came up to that last restart, I thought, you know, this might be the one and only chance.
And here we go. The green flag is waving, and we have a battle. Scott Goodyear moving to the inside of Pruitt. He gets him at the straightaway.
It's a battle of a couple of great Scots.
Honda was leading the Indianapolis 500. Goodyear and Pruitt ran nose to tail, lap after lap, until Pruitt pushed too hard.
And Scott Pruitt is spinning off of turn 2.
Scott Pruitt got high in turn 2 and kissed the wall and hit the outside wall, slid backwards, hit the inside retaining wall across the grass, and one of the leaders is out.
It didn't pay to run up front. The 9th yellow of the day set up a new duel between Canadians Goodyear and Villeneuve. A remarkable story was about to unfold.
Well, the pace car is still on the racetrack. Let's see, it moves through corner number 4, and Goodyear went around the pace car.
I thought, well, that's strange because he's not really on the racetrack. He's sort of off the left-hand side, very low, but not really carrying enough speed. So, foot down, past the pace car, and going down the front stretch.
We are under green at Indianapolis. We'll see what happens.
Goodyear got a huge jump on the field, but Villeneuve, who had already suffered the consequences of passing the pace car, stayed behind with the rest of the pack.
But you see, Scott had to do what he had to do because he was beat. He knew Jack was so much faster than he was, and he knew where Jack had come from. So Scott was beat when that green flag came out. For Jack to lift off, knowing that 10 cars could come by him, was a brilliant move.
It's about a 6-second lead right now for Scott Goodyear. And indeed, the 24 car of Scott Goodyear will get the black flag. Goodyear is being penalized for passing the pace car on a restart, and that is going to give the lead to Jacques Villeneuve.
You know, in that whole situation, it was actually very calm, cool, and collective that Steve Horn got on the radio to me, and he said, Scott, they said that you passed the pace car and you have to come in for a stop-and-go penalty. And at that point in time, I just pushed the button and said, Steve, I'm not coming in.
With Scott Goodyear not answering the black flag, USAC has decided to stop counting laps. Jacques Villeneuve, now the leader of the Indianapolis 500, because of the refusal to answer the black flag.
That's a no-win situation. I'm staying out because if they were in error, they're not going to take you from being 12th or 14th or whatever we were back up to the front.
Villeneuve was now 5 laps away from being the first Canadian to win at Indianapolis.
Jacques Villeneuve, his second Indianapolis 500, second last year. It looks like first this year. He has a lap and a half to go to win the greatest race in the world. The checkered flag is waving, and Jacques Villeneuve wins the 1995 Indianapolis 500. The youngest driver in the field at 24 years of age has won at Indianapolis.
A relentless run for Villeneuve and his players' team finally paid off with racing's greatest prize.
It's the greatest feeling. You know, it's my best feeling I've had so far in motor racing.
And you know, if there's one race you want to win, it's this one. And if there's a race you want to win over and over and over, you know, make sure you pick this one.
A lot of people to this day think we got those laps given back. That was not the case. We actually ran 505 miles that day. And so, you know, I don't think there's a lot of giving about it. I think we won it. I think Jack Villan, who drove the wheels off it, and did a tremendous job. It was a tremendous team effort.
Despite being the first car to complete the 500 miles, Goodyear suffered another heartbreaking race at Indy. He finished 14th.
I was just standing there looking at this and going, you know something, I don't agree with it. And I was more, not so much emotional, frankly, I was just pissed off.
Christian Fittipaldi, the nephew of two-time champ Emerson, earned top rookie honors. Christian was one of 5 Brazilians to participate in the 500. In 1994, Speedway president Tony George announced plans to form a new racing series designed to curb costs and focus on grassroots racing. The Indy Racing League began in 1996, leaving drivers and teams with a choice: the IRL or the existing IndyCar World Series.
I really didn't want to miss running at Indy. Indy was very important to me, and I also figured that Indy is still the race in America.
Race at Indy, not race at Indy. It really wasn't that complicated.
While the names and faces in Gasoline Alley were new to most, the action on the track was unchanged. Arie Luyendyk clocked a lap over 239 miles an hour, the fastest speed ever recorded on the famed oval.
At the time, a lot of people were saying, you know, the speeds are too high and how come they are so high? Well, what happened was the Speedway put a new surface on the racetrack. The rumble strips that had been there since 1993, they had removed those, so you ended up with a foot more of racetrack. And the tires, of course.
Records were bound to fall on pole day. Tony Stewart led a 4-car assault for Team Menard and became the fastest rookie ever to qualify for the 500.
It's just an honor just to be in this race, let alone be on the front row. I mean, that was my goal this morning when I got out of bed, was just to try to get on the front row, so we accomplished that.
But the crowd came to see Luyendyk, and at midday, the Flying Dutchman set new 1- and 4-lap records.
Well, Scott Brayton is running somewhere. Is he going to be going for the pole pretty soon? Well, this battle for the pole may not be over, fans. He could set a new 4-lap record.
We're going to get the pole, Sean. We won't get the 1-lap record, but we're going to get the pole.
With an hour left in qualifying, Scott Brayton withdrew his qualified car and gave the pole another shot.
He's got the pole, baby. Yeah.
The gutsy move paid off, and Brayton claimed back-to-back Indy poles.
I don't even know how I feel.
But the drama didn't end there. After inspecting Luyendyk's machine, USAC officials disallowed the run because the car was underweight. Luyendyk would have to re-qualify.
And it's a new track record.
Luyendyk redeemed himself on Sunday with a 4-lap average just under 237 miles an hour.
Boys, we're going to be in the record book for a long time.
The fastest car in the field would start 20th.
I believe that the Reynard that I ran in 1996, it was absolutely the best car I ever drove at the Speedway. We were just trimming the car out, and we took so much rear wing out that the thing, we were actually contemplating one day to take it off.
17 rookies started in the fastest field in Speedway history. During the second week of practice, pole sitter Scott Brayton was killed when his car struck the turn 2 wall.
The magical thing about Brayton is that he thoroughly enjoyed qualifying. I've never seen anybody embrace qualifying like he did. And he had more courage than anybody I've ever seen.
I just couldn't run. But going out the next day was very hard. Driving by that spot, it took quite a while to not think about it, driving around the racetrack. And that's when you have to almost be immune to it, but nobody is.
I don't think his passion will ever be forgotten, and it's left a very much a permanent imprint on me, because every time I come here I think about those that have come before and the passion, and he certainly had the passion for IndyCar racing. He loved it, every minute of it, and was a fierce competitor.
The green flag is out from Dwayne Sweeney, and the 1996 Indianapolis 500 is underway.
Stewart looks like a veteran from the very start. The rookie led the first 31 laps and gave Team Menard a much-needed boost.
Stewart is off song. He is down on the inside now. That engine sounds very sour.
And now it's blown. A big puff of smoke out of the back of Tony Stewart's car, dead center on the back straightaway.
50 laps later, Stewart's Menard V6 expired, ending a remarkable run. Despite the early departure, Stewart earned top rookie honors. Lyondike had charged from 20th to 3rd when his visit to the pit lane turned horribly wrong.
Salazar touched wheels with Lyondike and lost it, went up against the outer edge of the track, now comes back and is slowly rolling.
While Ari fell out, Salazar kept going. The Chilean even managed to help teammate Alessandro Zampedri take the lead on lap 169.
As they took the green flag, Davy Jones was forced way down to the inside of the racetrack. He brushed the wall here on the front straightaway.
Jones slowly cut into Zampedri's lead and pushed his Mercedes back into contention with 10 laps to go.
Davy Jones has passed Alessandro Zampedri coming down the main straightaway. Jones has the lead.
Running a quiet third was Buddy Lazier. In the hunt all day, the Indy veteran was ready to pounce.
I can remember Buddy coming over the radio and he said, "Ron, can I go yet? Can I go yet?" So here he was preserving his car and he's saying, "Can I go yet? Can I go yet?" So when he was turned loose, he was just possessed. He was on him and he just started gaining and gaining and gaining.
Lazier is second, and Lazier is definitely closing in as they go into turn number 2.
On that day, at the end of the race, I really don't believe anybody could have beaten me because of where my car was. It was just kind of slipped right into the magic rut, the magic feeling, and I mean, I probably could have driven the car on one tire all the way around, up on 2 wheels. I mean, it was a magic race car. That day, it was hooked up.
Here they are on the main straightaway at the line. He might be making a move at 1.
They are side by side, and he's got the move made. Buddy Lazier has taken the lead. Davy Jones into second, and there goes Buddy, and he's on a tear.
In March, Buddy Lazier had fractured his back in a serious crash. The injury left Lazier's career and the month of May in doubt. 2 months later, he was leading the Indianapolis 500.
The 1996 Indianapolis 500 is won by Buddy Lazier.
It's all these motions coming through. Going from just 2 months before that, not knowing if this injury that I had gotten was going to end my career, to the most awesome accomplishment you could have in my chosen career, winning the Indy 500. So, yeah, it was a huge range of emotions.
And it's without a doubt one of the most memorable experiences I'll probably experience in my life. I'm sure for Buddy Lazier, for all my crew and so on, because we worked so hard to get there and then to finally drink the milk. Wow, we didn't drink just one of those quarts. We drank a few of those quarts, but it was great.
We just about had this race completed, and the last turn results in a crash coming off of 4.
A 3-car incident on the final lap knocked out the 4th through 6th place finishers, Alessandro Zampedri, Roberto Guerrero, and Eliseo Salazar. Familiar names like Andretti, Rahal, and Penske skipped Indy to compete in another 500-mile event in Michigan, but not without regret.
It was just a sad thing. The Indy 500 and my family go hand in hand, and ever since I was a very young boy. And then for political reasons, not to be there in the prime of my life, it hurt.
The Indy Racing League announced a new race car for 1997. A cost-effective package produced a level playing field for all competitors. But would it make a difference come race day? Along with 2 new chassis manufacturers, the option included a 4-liter V8 engine built by both Oldsmobile and Nissan. This marked the end of the turbocharger era, a move that would cut speeds at Indy by 20 miles per hour.
Running 218 with these new cars is harder for me than running 238 last year. And from that perspective, the car was quite a challenge, the new IRL car, and because the weight of the gearbox and the engine affected the handling of the car, so they were very tricky to drive, those cars.
Even without a turbocharger, Arie Luyendyk was still the fastest man on the track. Arie grabbed his second Indy pole with a 218 average. Tony Stewart started second.
Boy, this is a very, very depressing sight as we look out from the master control tower here. It is absolutely pouring down rain. Just when we were probably within moments of the ceremonies and maybe the start of this race, the rain just started to come down hard.
Severe storms caused a washout on race day and pushed the start back to Monday.
Here, now we got a spin in 4. Spin in 4, we've got a car into the wall, and actually 2 cars into the wall. And that happened just coming off the parade lap. Alfonso Giaffoni is one of them. Kenny Breck is the other. 2 rookies into the wall in turn 4.
Before the green flag fell on day 2, all 3 cars in row 5 were eliminated in the parade lap crash.
Pace car is off. Pace picks up. Here they come down to the line. Green flag is out. The 81st 500 is underway.
Closing from second is Stewart.
Off of the 4th corner they come. It's Arie Luyendyk with the lead, but Tony Stewart challenges on the inside at the line. Tony Stewart grabs the lead.
With only 13 laps completed, rain returned to the speedway. The race was put on hold yet again.
You know, you spend all month, and especially the last couple of days, getting ready to start the Indianapolis 500. You know, it's our Super Bowl, so you go through all those emotions, you build yourself up, and to not be able to get it done on Sunday was a difficult time.
Clear skies graced the Brickyard on Tuesday, leaving no doubt the race would run to completion.
Ladies and gentlemen, restart your engines.
A car heads for pit lane, and that is the 42 car of Robbie Gordon. Quickly exits the race car, and we'll see if a yellow comes out. He is rolling on the grass on that pit lane. Obviously, Robbie Gordon is on fire.
Gordon was running 3rd at the time and suffered 3rd-degree burns when his Dallara Aurora caught fire.
I felt a lot of cold fluid on me, so you know that was really disappointing. The rain held us out there, and also probably was the reason for 3rd-degree burns, and maybe the reason for a victory, because we did have clearly a fast car.
Green flag is out. Here we go. We've got cars bunched up behind the leader, and Luyendyk goes for the lead.
And Stewart able to regain the lead. He got back around Luyendyk, and he's blowing Luyendyk and the rest of the field away.
The race became a battle of youth versus experience. Stewart versus Luyendyk.
When I went to pass him on the left, he moved over and basically forced me into the grass, and I got my 2 left wheels in the grass, and I was, you know, kind of working the steering wheel, and I was thinking of flipping him off, but I figured, well, you know, it doesn't matter anyway, it happened, so I just had to work and concentrate really hard on getting around him.
Luyendyk is right behind him, now beside him as they head for 1. Who's going to get it?
The Rustbelt rocket hangs on briefly, and now he is past the 1990 winner. Arie Luyendyk will take the lead.
Luyendyk held the point and began to extend his lead by 5 seconds.
We'll keep an eye open for Jeff Ward. Ward going by as right now.
Rookie Jeff Ward picked up the lead with an out-of-sequence pit stop and led 49 laps.
Jeff had an unbelievable 500. It was one of those perfect events where you get a driver who has a really good head on his shoulder, is willing to listen to people, and is fast and is hard. I mean, Jeff is an incredible athlete.
But the same strategy that put Ward into the lead took him out of it. Ward lost the lead when he pitted on lap 193. That shuffled the order and put Treadway Racing up front.
it came down to, again, as it always does, restarts. And we were leading, and we came down to a yellow, and I thought, man, I can't believe this. We're going to have another restart.
We could have some kind of a trophy dash to the finish. They're halfway through the backstretch and headed toward Gary Lee.
No team orders here. Nose to tail. Lyondike looks to the high side by side into 3. Lyondike takes the lead across the North Chute. 4, 5, 6 car lengths. Lyondike has the advantage.
I felt bad that the moment I passed him, I actually felt pretty bad for him because, first of all, he was my teammate, and I know that he should have won the race in '95, really. The race was stolen from him, in my opinion. So I felt bad about it, but of course I need to win for myself. I mean, you know, that's what it's all about.
But the caution flag has come out here with less than 5 laps to go.
On lap 198, the yellow was out for Stewart, who slapped the turn 4 wall. It looked like Ari had his second win wrapped up.
I said to myself, I'm going to look at that guy and I want to see that white flag. And so I was actually looking at the starter stand the whole time. And all of a sudden I see him pull out the green. I'm like, what the heck? So,
and the green flag is being waved. The white and green flags are showing. The race is on. The race is on, Jerry Baker.
What a shocker this is.
You get the green flag, but then the yellow light is on. Going into turn 1, going into turn 2, I'm on the radio going, what in the world is happening here? And by this time they're going, we don't know, we don't know. I'm saying, can I pass, can I pass? We don't know, we don't know.
The mixed signals created confusion and controversy. Once again, Scott Goodyear was caught in the middle.
Ari Lyondike wins the 1997 Indianapolis 500, the 81st running of this edition, by 0.7 of a second.
my goal was always to win again, and you know, we finally did that. So that weight was off my shoulders, and in a way, it was in that way it's really gratifying. And, you know, you shed that weight off your shoulders.
For the third time in 6 years, Goodyear had an Indy victory slip from his grasp. His second-place finish gave Treadway Racing a 1-2 finish.
I had a lot of good results in the 10 years that I ran here, and came close many times, was competitive at the end of an event if we were still running, which was something that I think that I'm very proud of.
Jeff Ward took third and was named Rookie of the Year. World of Outlaws king Steve Kinzer finished 14th in his first 500. Every driver who has qualified for the Indy 500 has dreamt of winning the greatest spectacle in racing. 1998 was one of those storybook races in which the perfect car, a hungry driver, and a dash of luck turned a dream into reality. In 1998, an abbreviated May schedule reduced qualifying from 4 days to just 2. A.J. Foyt had found much success with his new tandem. Sweden's Kenny Breck and short track ace Billy Bull topped the charts all week long.
He is going for the pole for sure, a 224.
On pole day, both took the top spot with a 223 average. Breck qualified third. Texan Greg Ray filled out the front row with an incredible run.
We didn't know how fast we could go, and this year all I knew is I wanted to qualify higher than 30th, because it's a whole lot easier working your way through traffic starting up front than it is at the back.
Eddie Cheever was barely keeping his head above water. A sponsorship was hard to come by for the driver and team owner. A tough decision had to be made.
We had enough money to make it to the end of the 500, and if we didn't have a good result, we were gonna pull the shutters down and say, that was great, that was a lot of fun. So there was a lot of pressure.
Qualifying 17th didn't help, but an 11th hour sponsorship from Rachel's Potato Chips kept Cheever's team alive.
The field comes down, looking good. The green flag is out, we're underway. The 82nd Indianapolis 500 is on.
We have a car smoking, we have a spin. A spin, 2 cars, one against the outside wall, did not make any contact. And we have a yellow flag already. It is car 44, that's J.J. Yaley.
I'm turning into one, and somebody hits me from behind, Yaley, I think it was. And I just remember correcting and thinking, okay, here it goes. And it didn't, it just stayed that way. And it went sideways so long that it flat spotted all the tires. I was relieved because I thought the race was going to be over. And there was a lot of pressure for the race not to be over. Came in, put a set of tires on there, and started right from the back.
The rough start dropped Cheever to 25th. Off the restart, both held the lead with Ray in tow.
Here's a battle for the lead. Greg Ray goes inside in turn one.
Greg Ray's got him wheel to wheel. He's got him past. Billy Boat drops into the number 2 spot line now. What a great move by Ray.
Defending IRL champion Tony Stewart only needed 20 laps before he was battling for the lead.
Now Stewart again with the left side tires under the white line. He makes the move and takes second position.
Tony Stewart stalking Greg Ray now. Wow, look at him. Turn one. Did Stewart get him? Yes. Oh, smoke coming from the rear of the car. Tony Stewart slows down, and it looks like Tony Stewart blew an engine. Stewart went from first to worst in one straightaway. His expired Aurora quickly made him the new poster boy for bad luck at Indy. Meanwhile, Cheever was sifting his way through traffic.
Eddie Cheever just picked up another position in turn number 1.
As always, being the cool, calm, and collected Eddie Cheever, Owen Snyder says that they're just kind of laying in wait. They're going to save it for the end.
Let's spin. Sam Schmidt hard in the wall. 2, 3, 4 cars involved in turn 3, triggered by Sam Schmidt.
I think it was Schmidt dived in, and there was just no room. So I had two choices, either to hope there wasn't going to be an accident or to start getting out of the way, and there wasn't. And I just pulled down to the left and got out of it. And I was very lucky.
Cheever's auspicious moves put him in a position to challenge Breck for the lead on lap 66.
And it looks like he's going to stay tucked in behind Kenny. No, he makes a move to the inside.
Here he comes. They're wheel to wheel. Now Kenny Breck will hold him off one more time.
Once again, Cheever has a run on Kenny Breck here on the main straightaway.
Kenny Breck crashed on the parade lap last year, and he's got him in car 51. That's Eddie Cheever. He takes the lead, and now he is off to the races. He's stretched the lead out into the second turn.
I thought I had been knocked out of the race at the first corner. So every lap I did, I felt there was an extra bonus. Well, there's another one. There's another lap. And the car was going better and better the whole time. And we never touched the car the whole race. Never put one turn of front wing in, never changed the tire pressure, didn't touch a thing on it.
Cheever was now in front, but he wasn't finished flirting with disaster.
Waiting for the fuel hose to be disconnected. Eddie Cheever stalls the car. Oh, they didn't quite get the fuel hose unfastened. Eddie has to back up. They pull the car back. He's revving it up. Now he's underway. A little glitch on the pit stop for Eddie Cheever. Couldn't get the fuel hose disconnected.
Thanks to Lady Luck, Cheever stayed in the lead, but with 20 laps to go, Buddy Lazier poured on the pressure.
That's when it all hangs out. It's all or nothing. And I let it all hang out, but I on that last pit stop, something changed in the race car to where I just could not make any more of a run at him than I did.
Eddie Cheever picks up the pace as they come off corner number 4. Cheever goes to the inside, trying to break a bit of a draft. Buddy Lazier is right behind him as they head for turn 1.
He almost brushed the outside wall of the short chute. But he's still the leader going through 4 with Lazier trying to catch him. But it's Cheever in control as they head toward 1.
That was just enough that I got enough distance away going into 1. And then I just consciously made a decision that I wasn't going to finish second.
That determination allowed Cheever to set the fastest lap of the race and lead the next 22 laps.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I had a great crew. We had great pit stops. Everybody in the team participated. The car was built right. I mean, everything was just meant to be.
Everybody standing and cheering Eddie Cheever. He's going to get his first. Eddie around through 4. His hand pumping in the air. He heads for the finish.
In his ninth start, Eddie Cheever wins the 1998 82nd running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
Cheever was the first driver-owner to win Indy since A.J. Foyt did it back in 1977.
That whole year is a great year. But the most enjoyable part of that year was when I got the checkered flag and the time I got to spend by myself going all the way around the track until I stopped. Because the minute you get out of the car, you have no time to think. I mean, it's just you grab from one place and here and there and there. Everybody's patting you on the head and everybody wants a piece of you, and it's gratifying.
Rookie Robbie Unser, son of three-time Indy champ Bobby, finished 5th in the other Team Cheever car. Steve Knapp was named Rookie of the Year with the 3rd place finish. Oldsmobile was the dominant engine in 1998. 32 of the 33 starters used the Aurora. Jack Miller was the only driver to run a Nissan Infiniti. He finished 20th. For the better part of 2 decades, the neon-colored cars of John Menard were some of the most competitive at Indy, until race day. Every year, mistakes and misfortune kept the team out of victory lane. 1999 would be no different. After an impressive 1998 season, Greg Ray was tabbed as Menard's newest pilot. Keeping with team tradition, Ray was fast all month long. Defending league champion Kenny Breck came to the Brickyard with a new goal.
I even told the guys when we received the first car before Christmas that year, just make sure everything's good with this car, because this car is going to win the Indy 500 this year, and that's what we have to do this year.
1999 was to be the final race for 2-time winner Arie Luyendyk. But once the Flying Dutchman hit the bricks, he realized how tough it was for a driver to call it quits.
I said to myself, why did I do that? Why did I even do this final 500 stuff? Because I was back in the car, I was in Indy, and I was, putting out really fast lap times, and I was up there on the timesheets, and I was just having a great time.
Luyendyk never showed his age on the track. He grabbed his 3rd Indy pole with an average over 225 miles an hour.
Arie had a way of getting around the speedway. A lot of guys drive into the corner. If you watch Arie, he would late arc the corner and arc it in the corner and just kind of slide the car through the corner and get a lot out of it. He was very fast in qualifying and obviously very competitive when it came to race day.
Good-looking lineup down the front straight as we get set for the green flag to fall on the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500. Green flag is out. Arie Luyendyk, the first across the yard of bricks as they head into turn number 1.
Luyendyk spent the first 45 laps in the lead, but not without heavy pressure from Ray.
Luyendyk maintains his advantage through 2, but Ray seems to have them dialed in. He's going to try and make the move, maybe headed to 3.
Drafting and looking down to the inside. Greg Ray wheel-to-wheel with Luyendyk. Inside position going into 3. Greg Ray takes the lead away from Luyendyk as they come out of turn number 3.
Both Ray and Breck took turns out front. Luyendyk bided his time until lap 99.
And they will come underneath the flag stand, and it will be Arie Luyendyk, the leader. Kenny Breck runs 2nd, and Greg Ray makes a move to the middle of the track and 1.
We put our race engine that we put in turned out to be a really strong engine. I was having the race of my life. I was having a great time.
Luyendyk has crashed at turn number 3. Was trying to go underneath the Tice Carlson car. Got loose, got sideways, backed it in, and is now stopped at the short chute over in the exit of turn number 3.
Arie ruined his chance to go out on top. The impatient move cost him the lead and the win.
I should have known better. I could have waited another lap. So you make a decision, you go past the guy, and you can't really turn it back, and that's one of those deals. With that incident, I just couldn't turn it back.
We've got a problem in the pits. It appears that Greg Ray and Mark Dismore have made contact in the pit lane, and those 2 cars could be seriously damaged.
Ray's time up front was short-lived. The pit lane incident was another blemish for Team Menard. Kenny Breck inherited the lead and was unbeatable for the next 50 laps.
Trouble, the cars hit the wall coming out of turn number 2, throwing one of the tires. That's Dismore. Dismore brushed the ball coming out of turn number 2.
Breck used the yellow on lap 174 to make his final pit stop. Robbie Gordon pitted 5 laps earlier and stepped into the lead.
Robbie Gordon gets a good jump on the field, and Gordon is away from the pack.
We raced that race with a lot of downforce on, peeled the downforce off later in the day, and the car took off. Easily had the fastest car.
Gordon started to distance himself from the rest of the field. It seemed Team Menard might have finally found Indy glory.
14 laps remain. Robbie Gordon, shown as your leader. He made his last stop at lap 169, 31 laps at this racetrack. He's really going to have to lean it out if he's going to make it to the end.
We knew that if things run the way it should run, then we'll win, because unless they have a big tank in the car, they can't run that distance. It's impossible.
All Gordon needed was the yellow flag to conserve fuel, and the victory was his.
The lead has gone from 4.1 seconds to 2.4 in one lap.
With 10 laps to go, Gordon's lead and the chances of an Indy 500 win were beginning to shrink.
Gordon with the lead. Slower traffic. Kenny Breck. Now Gordon's pulling in. He's pulling in. Kenny Breck has got it.
Robbie Gordon, we didn't think he could make it.
I don't know if we didn't fill the car up full of fuel, or I'm going to say that's probably the biggest thing, because going on fuel calculation numbers that were right the whole race leading up to the last pit stop tells us that we just didn't stay in the tank long enough and get it full of fuel. And that probably cost us the 1999 Indy 500.
Kenny Breck has picked up the lead now with 1 lap remaining. Kenny Breck sees the white flag as he heads into one.
The focus just changes. And then AJ started talking to me when we came by the start-finish line on the second to last lap, I think. He was, we're gonna win this, baby. I said, shut up, AJ, we got a lap to go here. You know, things can happen.
Checker flags are out, and you name it, a new face will adorn the Borg Warner Trophy as Kenny Breck wins the 83rd Indianapolis 500-mile race.
Put in so much work for one goal that, you know, if you win it, then it's like, we did it. And I think that for me, it meant a lot to win it with AJ because of his legacy at Indy, having won the race 4 times himself, and then I'm winning it with him as a car owner. That was a pretty good combination.
The victory was the 5th for Foyt, his first as a car owner. It was a super day for Supertex. All 3 of his cars finished in the top 6. Breck became the first Swedish-born driver to win at Indianapolis. Jeff Ward took second, Billy Boat third, and just 2 laps from his first victory, Robbie Gordon finished 4th.
Yeah, I feel like crying right now, but what can you do? You know, I mean, it's just racing. We had 1 more yellow, it would have been fine.
Gordon was one of 4 Robbies to finish in the top 10. Robbie McGee was 5th and earned Rookie of the Year. Robbie Buell finished 6th, and Robbie Unser 8th. The 1990s were a monumental period in the history of the Indianapolis 500. Defining moments, both on and off the track, changed the sport forever. Indy's greatest drivers said goodbye to the place that made them legends, while the next generation proved they were ready to become the racing heroes of the 21st century. All the names had changed. The action on the track had not. Each race produced 500 miles of thrills with suspense and surprises at every turn.
Allister Jr. has the lead. 1 more turn to go. Here they come.
An era of excitement. The 90s, a decade of drama.